Hoxus 4 is a particularly hostile environment. It's almost like some giant mining megacorporation sends you down there armed with a bunch of guns to disrupt the natural habitat and kill everything that moves, so they can extract all the minerals and oil. But, you know what one of your deadliest weapons is? Knowledge. That's right, you're going to be bumping up your stats as you progress through the game, but learning how things work is equally, if not more important. So today, I'm going to go over some of the basics before wrapping everything up with 10 tips and tricks that I picked up through way too many dives over 100 hours of gameplay. And so, with that said, let's dive right into it because those minerals certainly aren't going to be mining themselves. So, here we have the main menu, and it's really the first three options that you need to worry about. Gear is where you can manage the items your dwarf has equipped. You generally don't want to go into a dive with an item missing if you actually have something for that slot. This is going to take a little time to build up though, so when you first start, you don't need to worry about it. Similarly, upgrades use the special resources that you mine in a dive to give you permanent stat bonuses. This does add up to a significant amount. 12% crit is a lot, but it takes a while to build up, so again, this is a thing to think about over time. Where you're going to start is the play menu, where you get to pick main missions, masteries, anomaly dives, Vanguard contract, and lethal operation. Some of these unlock over time. Main mission has two types: elimination and escort duty. Elimination, kill the dreadnought. It takes 5 levels to get to it. Escort duty, escort the drill dozer and blow it up on the aliens. This takes 3 rounds. Each one of these has different sectors, roughly translating to difficulty, and different areas. Think of this as normal area, lava area with lots of fire, vine area that's hard to move around. Salt pits are very salty and full of aliens that are difficult to dodge because they're constantly rolling everywhere. And the Azure Weald is just a weird zone, hence why it's called Weald. You start at Sector 1, aka Hazard 1, and go all the way up to Sector 5, aka Hazard 5, aka a much higher difficulty. Now for masteries, you complete a specific level with a gun or character, or just complete a longer version of a zone, and you get permanent bonuses. You want to stack these up because the more of them you have, the easier the game is going to be. Anomaly dives are special challenges. Haven't done these yet, but I expect they're pretty difficult. Now hey, if you want to see me do some of these, maybe let me know down in the comments below. Might make some videos on them. Vanguard contract is a daily. The main reason to do this? Epic gear. This is very helpful early on. In general, Vanguard contracts are fairly easy and achievable. Lethal operations, on the other hand, are your weekly. They are very difficult at times. They are not necessarily easy and achievable. They require specific strategies, but if you complete it, you get guaranteed legendary gear, which can be very nice. So now, let's jump into a run, and I'll talk about a few of the game's mechanics. Basically, your goal is to survive until the elite spawns, then kill the elite, and move on to the next run. On the way, there's several side objectives, like mining ore. This gives you EXP, and this gives you resources that you can use for things like rerolls and purchases in the shop. Also, alien bugs spawn. They don't want you to mine. That's where the guns come in. Right now I'm using the LMG gun platform, so that I can spend more time mining and less time fighting the alien bugs. There are also zone objectives, like collecting these little mushrooms, the Bulio caps. You can see that at the top right. Another little objective are the loot bugs. They don't do anything, but if you kill them, you get minerals, so you should kill them. It does feel bad though. As you level up, you're prompted to select new weapons, so I could get the KIP Viper Drone, Breach Cutter, or Shard Diffractor. I'm going to take the Viper Drone here because dousing alien bugs in acid just sounds like a good time. Also, as you level up, you get to pick various upgrades that enhance your weapons. So here, the Tweak Potency is an upgrade specific to the KIP Viper. This increases the weapon level, an important mechanic for the overclock. There's Offensive Chemistry, all status effect damage, so acid, electrical, and fire. And there's Mind Blowing, which is just crit damage across all weapons. Think of this as a dwarf upgrade. If you want to see more about your stats or your weapon stats, you can always pause the game and just check them. This is particularly handy if you want to know, should I increase the fire rate, damage, or reload time of a weapon. Now, when a weapon reaches levels 6, 12, or 18, you get to pick an overclock. This modifies the gun's behavior, or in this case the drone's behavior, and often makes it far more powerful. So I'm going to pick Behavior Chip Defensive. Now, the drones will fly around my character, and there's going to be some extras. Now, once the timer fills, the elites arrive. These are the big bads that you need to kill to complete the run. So let's do that quickly. There we go. Once you kill the alien bugs, the next thing to do is get on the drop pod, because yes, it will leave without you when the timer ticks down to 0. If you have any uncompleted objectives or unlooted goodies, you can grab them quickly, just be careful because the drop pod will not wait. In between runs, you get to access the shop. This is where you spend Nitra, aka the red resource, and gold, aka the gold resource. Nitra buys weapon upgrades, such as this paint job for the KRP Viper. On the other hand, gold buys character upgrades, i.e. things that affect multiple or all of your weapons. Then once you're satisfied, you move on to the next stage, rinse and repeat until you reach the final stage and confront the alien dreadnought. Or if you're doing the other game mode, until you reach the giant alien egg thing at the end and have to blow it up. So here we are, Floor 5, the deepest depths. It's time to challenge the dreadnought. Or in this case, the dreadnought twins. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes there's 2 big bad bugs, and sometimes there's 1 big bad bug. If there's 1, it's a big bad chargy bug. If there's 2, it's a big bad chargy bug, the purple one, and a big bad spitty bug, the orange one. Don't get hit by the charge. Running in straight lines is dangerous. Running in curved lines, way more safe. As for the spitty one, dodge the meteors that it spits at you. If you're able to kill the dreadnought twins or the dreadnought, congratulations, mission success. There's a beer on the house waiting. Now this is also where your damage really makes a difference, because the longer it takes you to kill the dreadnought, just like how the longer it takes you to kill the elites from any given level, the harder things get. If you take too long, things are going to get extremely dangerous. But if you have good damage, especially good single target damage, you can wrap things up, get in the drop pod, and you're chilling all the way back home. So after the mission, there's this beautiful mission complete screen, which is especially satisfying on high difficulties, and then you're back in the main menu to do it all again, maybe grab some gear or upgrades before you do. So now let's dive into those tips and tricks. Alright, so tip number 1, mine your way out of trouble. That's right, you're a dwarf and you can mine. This causes you problems if you're too greedy, but it also gets you out of a lot of problems if you're not greedy. One mistake that I made pretty frequently when I started was cornering myself towards the edge of a map. This is bad, don't do that. But standing near a mineable wall is not only totally fine, but with enough mining speed, a really good escape plan. The big shift for me was thinking about bugs less like an enemy and more like a really angry bitey fluid. They always follow the path of least resistance. So, if I'm near a mineable wall and I mine myself a quick shortcut, bugs will kind of all funnel in behind me, leaving a gap on the opposite side of a wall. Plus, some weapons benefit from that narrow corridor, focusing fire on the pursuing bugs, making it much easier to squish them. Next up, bonk bugs. Did you know that you can actually hit small bugs with your mining pick to knock them back? You do this by facing towards them, just as if you're mining a wall, and walking into them, which is also a great way to deal with the purple exploity bugs in the Azure Wield. And if you're ever surrounded by a lot of low-level weak enemies, yep, you can bonk them and make yourself a safe space. Just be careful. Larger bugs cannot be knocked back. Running into them results in you taking damage. And I also found that if I was a little too aggressive bonking bugs multiple times, it doesn't always work out because one of them would hit me from the side or behind, and since I'm not directly bonking them with my pickaxe, at that point, yeah, I'm going to take damage. So use it with caution, but otherwise it's pretty darn cool. Tip number 3, really focus on objectives. A lot of bullet heaven games are about running in circles, killing enemies, and collecting EXP, so it's easy to get distracted by the shinies of just shooting bugs. But objectives are very important in Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. Remember, you are working for an evil mining corporation. They do not care how many bugs you kill, except for the dreadnoughts which complete the mission. Oh man, I haven't thought about this before. But yeah, they care about the stuff that you mine. The supply pod gives you an artifact, so mine everything out around it. Gold is spent on dwarf upgrades and rerolls. Nitra is spent on gun upgrades and artifact rerolls. The stage goals give you bonus EXP plus resources. Focus on these objectives, kill enemies as you go, don't forget to pick up the XP, and also grab all those meta resources which you can use on the upgrade screen or to upgrade your gear. Tip number 4, drop the pod. Speaking of objectives, did you know you can use the supply pod to squish bugs? That's right, you can drop the supply pod directly on the head of your enemies and it will deal massive damage or kill them instantly. Even on higher hazards, where this can be a little bit trickier because of a number of insane bitey bugs, it's pretty darn effective. And also, there's something that I find deeply satisfying about dropping that pod on an enemy and watching it die instantaneously. Yeah, sure, I have a whole bunch of guns that probably could have killed it just as quickly, but it's really fun to drop that pod, and also it makes it very easy to click any resulting loot that pops out of a bugs, since you're going to be walking over there anyway, and not actually clicking it because you don't need to, you just need to walk near it. Tip number 5, explodey bugs are the best bugs. Why are explodey bugs so good? They explode, this deals damage, it can be annoying, but if you get too close and then run away real quick, it goes boom. And that explosion damages everything around it, including terrain, so you can use the explodey bugs to mine ore with explosive speed, or you can use it to blow up other bugs. If there's a lot of explodey bugs in a pack of enemies, you can set off hilarious chain reactions that reduce the entire swarm to a massive pile of experience, which you can then go collect. Just be careful to not take damage when doing this. Tip number 6, aim for levels 6, 12, and 18, because this is when you get access to powerful overclocks for each gun. Some of these are crazy, such as the spiral overclock on Bazhukov, which causes you to, well, yeah, shoot in a spiral. Not only does this give you way more coverage, but if you stand close to enemies, you can point blank them. On the other hand, if you're using the Deep Core Grenade Launcher, or grenades in general, look for the upgrade that splits your grenades into 3, because what's better than 1 grenade blowing up enemies? 3 overlapping grenades. Yes, it does come with a damage penalty. That's fine, because remember, you are now overlapping 3 grenades on the enemy instead of just shooting them with 1. Oh, and scale that with explosion radius to make sure they overlap. Then if you're playing with a beam weapon, such as the sludge pump, keep an eye out for extra beams. More beams means you're hitting more enemies. This is particularly effective for things like the Cryo Cannon, Crisper, Sludge Pump, Krakatoa. Pretty much any beam weapon significantly benefits from extra beams. Since overclocks are so powerful, it means 2 things. First, the paint job upgrades are quite neat. They help you get to level 18 faster. Second of all, after your weapon hits level 18, it's often better to prioritize other weapons. And if you're not quite sure what you should do, again, hit escape, inspect your weapon, and use that when determining upgrades. For example, if a gun has a very short reload time, prioritize damage and rate of fire. If it has a long reload time, you could try to increase the reload or simply focus on damage while it's active. Oh, and if it's a status weapon, go for potency and status damage. Tip number 7. Each zone has its own quirks, and learning how they work can give you a significant advantage. For example, in the fire zone, bugs don't like walking on lava, so you can use that to encourage them to go around and give yourself a breather. In the overgrown zone, bugs tend to be quite vulnerable when it comes to getting stuck in the vines that regrow after you cut them. You can make a very quick shortcut and leave some bugs trapped behind. Also, it's very quick and easy to mine through those. You can go through giving yourself an escape plan. In the salt mines, mine the crystals. As you do, things rain down from the sky, and rocks fall, bugs die is a great way to end the tale. Or I should say, to continue the tale, because the tale ends when you die. In the Azure Weald, there are no exploders, which is very unfortunate, but there are neat crystals you can use to heal yourself, and jump pads. You can use these jump pads to hop on the head of loot bugs, getting around very quickly, jump past swarms of enemies, or jump on minerals to instantly mine them. So use all of those things to your advantage. Tip number 8, juke the Dreadnought, because unfortunately for you, Dreadnoughts love nothing more than charging dwarves. Luckily for you, dwarves have a pretty good turning radius, and you can juke the charge by moving right when it hunches down. The charge will then miss, and you can reposition. Just be careful if you're running in straight lines. I know I said this before, but I've lost too many runs to running in straight lines, trying to get loot, and not paying attention, so I really wanted to reiterate it here. Tip number 9, explore other game modes. Because yes, each of these game modes give you different rewards, and masteries are especially worth doing. Because when you complete masteries, you get permanent buffs when using a character, when playing in a zone, or when using specific guns. All of these things stack up, and once you get to Hazard 5, they make a huge difference in the difficulty. It is quite a bit grindy, and I don't recommend doing it for everything and every character and every weapon all at once. Do it for the things that you enjoy. But if you enjoy playing on a specific map, using a specific character, or find yourself gravitating towards specific guns, absolutely complete some of those, because that way you're going to do better in all your runs. I found this to be the biggest factor when it comes to difficulty. If I wasn't grinding, keeping up with a lot of that stuff, the game was very punishing. When I did all of that, it was actually reasonably chill. Still difficult on Hazards 4 and 5 though. Tip number 10, you can hang out before the pod leaves. You need to get to the drop pod before time runs out, but if you want a little bit more EXP before the level ends, you can actually chill on the ramp and shoot some bugs. Enemies, minus the flying and ranged ones, cannot reach you when you do this. And you don't have to worry about missing the drop pod, because if you're chilling at the top, you're pulled in automatically when the pod leaves. So, it's a great way to get that little bit of extra EXP. Alright, and so those are my thoughts on Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. As of the time when I'm making this video, I've played for about 150 hours. Half of which was when the early access first launched, and a lot of that knowledge doesn't really apply anymore because the game changed a lot. They added masteries, they added all sorts of things like gear. That is all new. So, it was quite a bit of a learning curve, and I relearned a lot. But that said, I do think that I've picked up a good bit of knowledge, as at this point I've gone from struggling to complete Hazard 3 to pretty smoothly and successfully completing Hazard 5. Yes, I still lose a few, especially when I get greedy, but at the very least I know why I lost. Spoiler alert, it's getting greedy. That said, if you've played the game a ton, leave some of your tips and tricks for the community down in the comments below. If you want to know more about the game in general, then do check out my review. That'll be either coming soon or linked up in the card and down below. Also, keep an eye out for that tier list video that I'm going to be making sometime after this. Again, once it is released, it'll be up in the card and down below. Till then, you're just going to have to get subscribed or join my Discord to see future uploads. With that said, I'm going to get going for now, so thank you very much for watching to the end, good luck on your dives, and I'll see you in the next one.